Hi Matt. So I've completed adding the catalog function into the Infinite Joinery tool. I haven't built the L-shaped or U-shaped aspect or anything like that yet, but at least adding this function in will allow you to save out your types and modify them more easily. So I'll show this one. I haven't actually tested this yet, so I'm just doing this for the first time. I mean, I've tested the functionality, obviously, as I've built it, but I haven't tested adding it to your elements. So basically, if we just go back to the first page, so let me explain how this works. I'm going to do a video on this. You're kind of getting this first up as my little test run, I guess. So we have sort of the same pages. There's a couple extra ones there, and it's been split up into these design and function menus. I haven't quite completed the UI and got all little icons and everything like that, but everything is mostly, it's working, but it's just not completely polished yet. So I will get some color coding and icons and stuff in there as well. So this is the same as Infinite Opening. So we've then got a components and a components catalogs and assemblies page. This page I haven't developed yet. I'm not actually sure I will for this tool. I'm going to sort of gauge how people respond to this page and see if people still want the larger page in there, or maybe I can get some icons in here to make this better. So basically what we want to do is we want to lock this configuration down into components and assemblies so that we can reference those elements out or use them, manipulate them, save them, you know, all the obvious things. Okay, so catalogs, we're just staying with local, stick with that. These catalogs in here are going to be probably a bit of a mess at the moment, as in the things in them, because I've just been sort of testing them, so I've just been uploading random things. Yeah, sometimes I get frustrated and I use swear words when I'm uploading random things, so I hope I don't have any of that in here now. But anyway, we'll see. So, so this catalog only has a couple of items in here. I'm just going to download that to make sure that's refreshed. Yep. Okay, so there's a couple of items in the assembly. So the assembly is a configuration of all these other catalogs down here. So the design has the following: carcass, benchtop, kit, gable, and so on. You can go through all that. This is the catalog file that you're referencing, download button, and obviously the component that you choose. So I've got a test one and a carcass 25, so that's probably a 25mm carcass, I think. That's the design menu. Then there's the functions menu. Excuse me, that's a bit all been expanded. So the functions menu, and it's broken down into the stations. So this has 9 stations. Oh, actually, it's got 11. Probably can't see them all. 9. Oh no, 9 stations. Sorry, 11 functions. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then this one here is broken up into 3 functions. That's why it ends up with 11. We ended up with 11 functions. But you can see that here, if we expand that station 7, it'll have a couple 3 stories. So it's got 3 stories. So I'll show you how that sort of works. So we can go into station 1, and we can expand that, and we can see that station 1 is 1 story. It's a door handle top, and there are no shelves assigned to that station. We can then go deeper into that story and have a look at all the components that are assigned. So we've got the height adjuster. That should probably be cut out of there because that's only relevant when you actually choose the height adjuster. So I might have to filter that out. Door panel, the glass of the panel, handles, the view panel, and the grill within the door panel. So it's the same door panel as in Infinite Openings, so it has most of their functionality. I took the kick out because I just figured that wasn't needed in Joinery. And then there's still that shelf station, the station shelves down there. You can scroll down this if it sort of goes out of the page a bit. And all these elements do expand to show the full parameters of that element. So door panel, it kind of looks ugly at the moment because we've got everything open here, And you can sort of, that's why I've created a couple of options up here. That's still just a refresh button. But there's this hide menus button. So if I hit hide menus, then it will only show the last menu that I have open. So to go back to the other menus, I have to close down a menu to see the rest of the other menus, which is handy in that it gives you the user interface real estate, basically. So when we open up the design menu, it removes all the other menus, so we're just looking at the design. And when we minimize that, we get the other menus back. However, you may want to see several menus at once, or you may want to keep track of where you are in the menu list, so that's why we have the show. I'll just turn that back to hide, so now it's show menus. And this means when you expand, the other menus don't disappear. I've then also incorporated, I'm just going to minimize that so we can see the menu a bit more. I've then also incorporated this other function, which is called the designer. I just got this silly little graphic. I couldn't work out what sort of an icon to do, so I did a waterfall. Anyway, when you click on that, it basically opens a selection of menus that I've chosen and eliminates all the others. So I'll just show you what they are. This is sort of, I'm testing this out to see how people feel about this. It just might help the average user to just be able to see the functions they want to deal with and not even have access to any other part of the object. So if I minimize that, expand this out, so we can see that within this you've got access to the main page, which is the carcass, where you assign whether you've got a kick and a bench top, what the heights of those elements are, what your overall, whoops, I turn that off, what your overall height, width and depth is, panel thicknesses, which panels are on. So that's sort of general assembly stuff. You've got the bench top element as well, so you can turn that on here or you can turn it on here. When you turn it on here, this expands and you get the full benchtop interface. I'll just turn that off for now, just for the convenience. Moving down, we have the kick. Same sort of thing. You turn it on or off and you get the full interface of the kick, so you can apply that. So they can apply benchtop, kick, the general carcass, and there's also the functions. So if I just minimize that, I'm going to try and make it so you can minimize these as well as. So then there's the function arrangement down here. I've got that set a bit high. Let me just change that. And this has 9. I'm just going to reduce this a little bit. So this is the function arrangement. So you can basically, they can sort of say how many columns, so how many stations they have, and the rows within those stations. But then there's nothing more beyond that. So it's fairly simple. If we turn that off, we then go back into the full interface where we can just show all menus, and we've got access to everything in there. So that's how the interface works. So now what we need to do is we need to focus on how to save out your objects. So the components that have been used in your objects are, if we go through the different menus, I keep turning the benchtop on and off. I'm going to turn that back on. So the components that we've set up in this are obviously the benchtop. So that's one. So we'll need to save that out. And that includes our height. Oh, that's the splashback height. Splashback height and thickness and radius, as well as our benchtop overhangs and the benchtop thickness. There's a value down there. Let me just explain this. Okay, the benchtop thickness, and also what the edge profiles are. This one's that rear profile is the curved splashback. So it'll save this configuration. So if we just simply call this, I'll just name this all after your stuff for now. What are we? Little Wall Architecture. So I'll just call it LA. So we'll do LA. I wish that would not update so quick. It doesn't give me time to think about what I want to write. LA BT for benchtop 01. Alright, so I'll just do 01 will be all the assemblies in this one, and then the other elements will be 02. Alright, so I'm going to upload that. Oops. Upload that to the database and download the updated database. Check to see if it's there. Yes, it is there. And lock that down. So that's my benchtop lockdown. A kick, we did sort of do, well, the kick's off basically. So you could save that. I mean, you really should save everything. So I would just do off, upload, download, and now you can simply hit the lock button and it'll find it in the list, provided it did upload properly. There we go. Okay, so that's done. We have done the carcass, we have configured the carcass, so we have turned a bunch of panels off, we have set thicknesses, there is an overall size as well, but the overall size is actually not saved in the carcass, it's saved in the assembly. So I'll do this as a carcass as well, so this will be LA-C-01, upload, download, and lock. Okay, so that's all locked, but you can see these three values are not locked because they are actually assigned to your assembly, not the carcass setting. The benchtop being on is actually also not locked to that. That's locked to the benchtop. And the kick being off, again, locked to the kick setting. Okay, so gables, we didn't set any gables. Once again, off. You don't have to do these. You can leave these as custom if you want, and that's fine. It just means that people will be able to edit that aspect of this configuration if it's left as custom. Cables, okay, legs. So we definitely applied some leg settings here. So call that LAL-01. I need to check what I've assigned to this setting. It may be the size, shapes, numbers, or positioning. I've got to check that. So we'll sort of find out when we lock this and unlock it. Because I'm not sure what of this should be assigned to the legs component and what of it should be assigned to the assembly component. Okay, it looks like the positioning, the sizes and the shapes are all assigned. Let me just hide everything else. Positioning is also assigned in this component. We may need to review that. Okay, legs. So the function arrangement. So this is the function arrangement basically refers to the rows and columns of your configuration where you position panels and things like that. So we definitely do have a specific function arrangement. Upload, download, and lock. I didn't do casters or rails. Why did I jump to function arrangement? Casters. Okay, so these are casters that are on here. You have a foot. So this is, you can see this is how it's all assigned there. So I'm going to save that as well. So it'll be LA. I'm going to call this, well, this is supposed to be a caster. How do I use this abbreviation? I've already got C. I might just call it FO1. Foot 01. Upload, download, and lock. And that was actually set to that profile of yours, or the size. I am going to put something in here that will allow you to put a custom sort of piece of geometry in, but that might take a while. Okay, caster and rails. We definitely do have some rails assigned. We have 2 levels of rails. So we need to save out this. So LA-01 R-01. Upload, download, and lock. Out of Rails. Okay, we did the function arrangement partition. So I've tidied this up a little bit. Let's expand this out here. Let's see it all. So I've tried to make it a little bit more visually helpful. It's not very easy to do in a GDL interface, but hopefully this does make some sense to people. If not, just tell me how you think it should be, and I'll do what is is the best thing. Okay, so we do have a specific arrangement here where we've sectioned off the drawers and this element in here, and then also around here, as you can see for this drawer here. So we obviously need to save that. LA dash, this is called partitions, isn't it? So LA dash P dash 01. Upload, download, lock. Not sure if you saw this bit shoot out the back here. That obviously means that my catalog is putting the wrong value in. So I'm going to have to fix the catalogs a little bit, but I'll continue on. We'll just sort of ignore that that's there. I'll fix the catalogs and it'll then write itself. So that's the partition saved. Close that. And that's your basic design saved. You've now got your actual functions, so your door panels, the drawers, and all that sort of thing to save. So your stations are locked, so you can see the number of stories locked, the number of stations are all locked, but we go into the station itself and its elements are still available. So we can store these different stations as components. So you could basically store all these three are the same component. These two drawers are the same component. This drawer would obviously be a different component. And then you've got the voids, which you can just leave as custom, leave them empty. Do as you like with that. So what I would do here with this one, so this is a function for story 1. So we can save function for story 1. So we can save function for, in here we'll be saving function for each of these 3 stories that are split here. And these will be basically, we'll leave them as custom and empty. And then this one we'll set to something. We'll lock it to that drawer configuration. So this is station 1, story 1, and we can just call it, it doesn't have a, it's a door handle. So I'll be saving that. And we'll be saving what these elements are set to, and we'll be saving this shelf element. So I'm going to leave shelves off. We can customize our door panel, which is pretty simple to do. So we should probably do that first. This is a plain door, so we should go into the door panel. We should call it LA door panel 01, or you might want to name it so that you know what it is in this regard. Upload down. Okay, looks like there's a few other issues. I'll have to get back to this. Okay, Matt, so I'm back after fixing those issues. There was just a few little glitches in my code. And I've got this plain door panel type now signed that I saved earlier. Upload, download. That was the download, had an error in that. Now lock that. So that's the plain door panel set to a door handle top. You can then go in and set the handle types as well, view panel, and lock all these down, grill, so you can set them to off when they're off and set specific handle types in here, which I think we did have, but anyway, you sort of see the concept of how that now works. I'll just go to the handle page and have a look, see if we've got any. Okay, so we do have a handle type set there for external. Internal is obviously off because it's joinery. So we could go back and save that as well. And you just go through the same process. I'm just going to call this LA-H-01, upload, download, and lock. Okay, so now, and you'll sort of get to see how this works. So now what I'll do is I'm going to save this, this story, so this function, so the function is a story. I might have to rename this because this is what the function is. Story 1 is the function, which includes the type, these components, and the shelves. So I'm going to upload this. Let's call it LA-F for function 01. Upload, download, and lock. Okay, looks like I've got a couple more problems to fix. I'll be back shortly. Okay, back again. Hopefully this time it works. Okay, so there you go. So what's happened is because we've assigned this function, I'm thinking I'm going to rename that to function 1 instead of story. Might put story 1 in brackets or something. It's locked the catalogues for the handle and the door panels because we have handles and door panels assigned, and it's also locked those elements. So you see if I try and change that to custom, it doesn't allow me to actually change that. So now what I can do, that's for station 1. If that's exactly how I want that station to be, I can then go to the next one, station 2. The catalogues are locked because they're being used in another component, but the actual element is not locked. So in here, what we can do is we can just assign the same station and it'll lock those elements for us as well. So we can do that to station 2 and to station 3, seeing as though it's the same. And then we need to do station 4. So station 4 is a set of drawers. Now this requires you to actually set, so it's set to drawer bank 1. So you've got the different panel types. We've got a door panel here. We might save this as door panel 2 because it's a contoured. So let's do that. Or yeah, we'll leave that as O2. Maybe we should do it as O1.2. Anyway, we'll leave it as O2 for now. Upload, download, and okay, so we've got the correct panel type assigned for that station. We haven't saved it yet because we need to save it as drawbank 1, but we should also set drawbank 1 as a configuration. So we can save this here. So what do we call the other one? F1. So we can do this LA-F- I think I might do a 0.1 so that it's for, let's do a 0.2. So that we know that it's for arrangement number 1 and it's the second type. So I should probably have done that as a 0.2 as well. But anyway, you'll have a naming convention of your own, so it's probably irrelevant. So I'll upload that, and I'll download that, and I'll hit lock. Okay, so that's locked. So now this is locked to drawbank 1, so I can't change that to a different drawbank. It still goes back to drawbank 1. It's got that door panel set there, and it doesn't have any of its other elements set, and it doesn't have a station set. So now the other thing is, if we go into, if I just minimize the stations for a second, we go into drawers. Now drawbank 1, so we have 3 at the moment. You can go into the drawer settings and you can add more. But drawbank 1 currently is set up to look like this. So it's got, that's drawbank 2. So drawer 1 is using drawbank 2. So if I go to drawbank 1, let me just see, back up in the functions, minimize that, go to station 4. So it's drawbank think I was planning on applying this in a slightly different way. Anyway, let's go and apply the drawers. So let's just reduce that. Oops, sorry, reduce the stations. So into the draw settings. And this is draw 1, draw bank 1. It's got 3 drawers in it. So we're going to save this. So this is the one that we're using. If I went and changed this, for instance, if I change this to 2, then this component's going to change. So we haven't actually effectively locked this down. I'll just show you. If I change that to 2. Oh no, sorry, that's not what I meant to do. That's the wrong value. Sorry, if I change this value here, number of drawers, to 2, okay, you can see that element has changed. So we have locked this element to draw bank 1, but we haven't locked the settings of draw bank 1. So I'll just set this back to 3, which is what it's supposed to be. And I'll save that. So this will be LA-DRW-01. We're going to have a second one, so let's do it 01.1. Upload, download, and lock. Okay, so now that's locked all those elements. It doesn't look locked here because these values are actually arrays that control the other ones as well. So, but I'll show you if I try and change this setting here, it reverts back. If I try and change this to 2 as I did before, it will revert back. Okay. So that has now locked draw bank 1 configuration. So I'm just going to minimize that and go back into our station 4, and it is using the draw bank 1 configuration. I can't change that because it is locked. Okay, so now I can go into back into stations. We can go into station 6, which is the same as station 4. Oops, that was station 7. Station 6. And we can just assign that function 1.2 there as well. I'll just show you it working. So let's just say we change this to handle door top. So you can see that's changed to a handle door top. But we want it to be our function 01.2, which is drawers. And then it changes back. Okay, so that's that locked down. We probably should go and set station 5 as well as being an empty shelf, but you can do that. I'm not going to show you, I don't need to show you all of this, I guess. Same sort of thing. You just lock the things that are locked down. Basically, the only thing that's applied to this is the fact that it's off. So neither of these elements will be relevant. I'll set it up so that when you do, I'll make some changes so that when you do select the off function, you don't see all these components that are irrelevant. So it'll make it a little bit more streamlined. Okay, so you can save that as off or whatever, upload it and do that, and then you can go in and you can do the same thing with the drawers, the last drawer set. So that was station 7. So it's got 3 stories, and on story 3 we have a drawbank 2 assigned. So you can go into the drawbanks again, just as I did the previous one. So we can save this as function 1.3. It would be. We currently got 1.1 or 1 and 1.2. So this would be function 1.3. And then you go into the draw settings and save drawbank 2 to that configuration, store that. And that would basically be it for all the functions as well. These last 2 ones, you could set them as off. Actually, I think there's a height adjuster in that one, isn't there? So in the last one, in station 9, story 1, yep, it's got the height adjuster. So you would save that as another function. And then that would lock down all the functions, as well as we previously locked down the legs and the rails and the bench top. So that would effectively lock down the complete element. You can then go and set the appearance as well, your 2D and 3D representation settings, and lock them down. What I would then do is I would save this as a complete assembly. So as you can see in the design, we've got all these elements locked down, but there's nothing stopping me from going and changing one of these components to something else. Okay, and so it's not effectively locked at the top level. As you're aware, with the infinite openings, it works the same way. So we want to save this as LA-01. Upload, download, and lock. So now all those elements are actually locked to it as well. Same as within the function, all these elements are locked down. There are a series of elements that aren't locked. The things that are left custom can still be modified. I'm not sure what is happening with that door panel. I'll have to review that. But yeah, that then locks down this complete component so that we can then sort of switch. You could select any element. We could start from scratch with the object, infinite joinery. Make sure we've got all the latest databases. I'm not sure if this is downloading correctly yet. I'll have to check that. I'm kind of still testing it. Okay, so if we just go and select it from the list. Okay, no error messages, that's nice. And that's basically the assembly. You can see it hasn't done the elements that we didn't select, so I didn't do that single drawer up here, and I haven't done those empty spaces. So if we go in and have a look at that in the functions, let's close these drawers and shelves. So if we have a look at station 5, okay, so at the moment it's just set to the door handle top, so we just turn that to off. That's what it would have been for the previous one. Same with, oops, went too far. Stations 8 and 9 as well. Off. Station 9. Off. Then also in station 8, sorry, station 7, these first two stories are off. And then we had one drawer. So that drawer would still be using, and that's using a door handle top. We didn't have that saved at all. Drawer bank 2, I think we had set for that, and we obviously didn't store drawer bank 2. So what you could do, even now, if I just click OK, jump out of that, go back into this one, and we'll go find that function here at station number 7. Station 7, this hit story 3, drawer bank 2. So first thing we can do is we can lock that. What we're going to call it, FO 1.3. And we'll upload, download, and lock. Okay, so now that is locked to drawer bank 2. Yep. So now that that's locked to drawer bank 2, we can now go to drawer bank 2, which is down here. Drawers. I've got to fix this up. This is not quite working exactly how I thought. That should always be on drawer bank 1 when you come into drawer 1. So this drawer 1 is drawer bank 1. I just haven't set this up quite right. So then when you come down to drawer 2, it should say drawer bank 2, but it's just giving you the same interface. Anyway, so drawer bank 2 is set to one drawer. That's the height. So these all the settings are right because we've set this drawer up earlier. So all we need to do is save that. What was our other one? Drawer 01.1. So LA dash drawer 01.2. Upload, draw, download, and lock. Okay, so now that we've saved that, we could actually go and update our assembly as well. So if we go into the assembly and we just go and assign this, make sure it's the full assembly, then we'll unlock that. Then we can go back down to the drawers, drawer 2, make sure that drawer 2 is assigned to that drawer, and then make sure that station 7 is assigned to, that's alright, yep, that is all assigned, so that remained assigned. So now we just need to update this, so just go upload, download, and we can lock that, and you see that locks our element there, our station 7. I'm still not sure why it's locking all of these. I'm going to have to check that. So it's not locking them in here. But it's locking each. Oh, it's probably not locking these individual settings. So it's not locking the individuals, but it is still locking those stories that are set to custom. So I'll have to fix that. But anyway, it's not a concern. So now that we've done that, if I click OK, get out of there, I can then come into this one, go into its settings, and just update the data here. So I can just update the whole lot. I could update drawers and stations individually and the assembly individually, but these databases are pretty small at the moment. So I'm just going to download the whole lot, update, and that then goes to our drawer setting, which I don't think we set a panel to. That's why it hasn't chosen the right panel setting. So let's go into that. Station 7, story 3. We will unlock this and unlock that and make sure this door panel is set to that element, which I believe is correct. Okay, and then we'll redefine this station with this component. So we'll just do an upload, download, and then when we lock this assembly, it'll lock this component with its new settings. So if I just hit lock, and that gets locked, and now that is also locked to that panel type. Okay, so that's it, all working. I can go through and show you the other ones as well, but have a look through, like once you've been through this video, just, you know, we'll have a chat about it and you can let me know what else you need to see, and we can take it from there. Okay, thanks, hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you didn't run out of drinks and nibblies in the process. Thanks, mate. Bye.